Okay, practice management system, arguably the most important bit of tech that you pick for your accounting firm, and I recommend 9 of them. There's like almost 50 of them. Let me chop that list right down to 9 for you. Going into 25, you need to be using one of these. Let's get right into it in no particular order. First up, Count. And I'm just gonna tell you right now, this landing page sucks. And it's super annoying they don't have visuals of the program itself. Probably because it's super ugly, but it's also really powerful, especially if you're a feature nerd. And if you want the tool that'll do everything for you and actually scale to support a pretty good sized firm, Count will do that well. Last year when we did a huge roundup of 14 practice management systems, comparing over 200 features, Count, interestingly, underdog alert, it's one of the most complete platforms on the market. Now, devil's always in the details on that, right? But the real reason I'm including them here, because honestly, when I first saw it, I was like, my eyes! And I don't want to like diminish what the good people of Count have built here. But the real reason I'm including them, several of the smartest, like most successful firm owners I know, absolutely swear by it. They love it. And in my opinion, that is the only thing that matters. That is the proof that I need to see. It is not about marketing budgets. It's not about shininess. It is about what gives me what I need to run a more profitable firm. Now, why listen to me specifically? I have had the fortunate opportunity to spend time with something like 2,000 accounting firms in the last couple of years. And along the way, you hear stories of what works, but you also hear stories of mainstream stuff that really doesn't work. And that's what I try to share on this channel. I don't take affiliates from any brands. I'm not getting paid for any of this. We do sponsorships on content. But I recommend tools and then I ask those tools to sponsor my content. I know, is that still independence? We do try to approach this stuff as independently as possible. Because if I were in your shoes and I saw, the person taking an affiliate, forget about it. Forget about it. I'm not gonna trust anything that they say. So we are trying to do this above board as much as possible because who else are you going to take software advice from? Salespeople? Landing pages? Don't do that, okay. Okay, back on track. Up next, a platform that's a little easier on the eyes, Client Hub. I've liked Client Hub for a while. I don't know about you, but sometimes when I see an app, you look around, you're like, this is a place that I would enjoy spending some time in. Now, Client Hub specifically, it's not gonna be for your tax-only firms, but very good for bookkeeping practices. Very client collaboration oriented. It's the closest thing I've actually seen to a two-sided task management system. Where you can assign tasks to clients almost like you would a colleague. Then your client logs in and sees actually a pretty similar experience to what your team's experience is in the app. And you work through those tasks with your client together, which is a big deal when most of the workflow blockers in a firm stem from how we exchange information with clients and get them to do our bidding. Stop holding this up. Okay, up next, Firm 360. Not a big company by any means. Not a big shiny landing page. Not much of a marketing budget to speak of. But I actually know a bunch of people, small firms mainly, that absolutely swear by Firm 360. And a big thing here is their level of support. If you are burned out on being an afterthought for most of the software tools you use, coming to an app like Firm 360 where they're gonna be super hands-on with you, man, it is going to be night and day. And it's why they're on a list. Smart people I know who run successful firms swear by them. I mentioned small firms. At the end of the video, I'm gonna show you a resource to get my single top recommendation for your firm based on factors like size, service mix, some things like that. Because honestly, even deciding from 9 apps is a big old pain and a lot of work, but I made a tool that'll get you down to 1. Whew! But up next, a company with a marketing budget, but one that's actually built a killer product, Financial Sense. Very good all-around platform that'll support both tax and bookkeeping firms. Some of the tools on this list are more targeted to just tax or just bookkeeping. Financial Sense is one that does both of them pretty well. A prize they take home right now, it starts at $9 per month for a solo firm operator, which is frankly ridiculous. I don't even know that that's a prize you want, but wowee, that's cheap. And let's be real, a lot of accountants out there, you're cheapskates, okay? You're cheapskates. Or you need the platform to be just so. There's tens of thousands of other accounting firms out there, but your firm, no. All the software that they use, that won't do. That simply won't do for your snowflake firm. So you turn to, mainstream tech or building your own thing. And there is a lot to like about mainstream tech. It is cheaper, oftentimes has more features, isn't super ugly, better integrations. I don't want to totally derail this video, but I'll give you 3 reasons why I'm not building my firm on mainstream tech these days. 1, because I did it already and I regretted it. I built a practice on ClickUp, and while ClickUp excelled in ways that accounting-specific solutions did not, it also lacked many other things I needed. I had to integrate with Teamwork Desk and a CRM and a whole stack of other things that were all like best of breed tools. And it was fine, but I came around to preferring something that instead wasn't perfect, but didn't require constant tinkering. Second reason I'm not buying mainstream tech, on a whole, anecdotally, I've seen more firms move away from mainstream to industry and stay there than I've seen go the other way. Most of the time when a firm goes to industry tech, they stay there, and that should tell you something. And number 3, AI. That old thing, actually. Like, if you think about what AI is set to enable across our entire tech stack. If you look at Microsoft, for example, if they create the dream suite to run a business, and AI sees across all your apps, it's all seamless and it's doing stuff for you, that AI, it's only ever gonna get an accounting firm so far. It's not gonna integrate into my client's accounting ledger, for example, to fetch an answer to a question I got via email. It's not gonna be able to read the unstructured data that's in a tax return PDF in my file system. So today, I'm investing in our industry tech because the ceiling of what they can do for me is ultimately higher. And if we don't have people building powerful software for accounting and tax pros, stuff just for us, and we are using the same tools that everybody else is using, that's kind of a bummer spot for the profession to find itself in, right? Okay, back on track. Up next is Keeper. This one 2 years ago, I wouldn't have called a practice management system, but it has gotten better at managing general tasks. But if there's a shortcoming for Keeper, it's that it doesn't really position itself as a solution that does all of the things that a practice management system does. But what it does do really freaking well is help you manage a huge volume of month-end closes. If you run a bookkeeping practice, this is an unbelievably powerful tool. Honestly, more of a month-end close manager than a traditional task manager. They sync every single transaction from the accounting ledger, QuickBooks or ZeroFile, into the platform. It's doing like automated quality assurance, staging the adjustments that you have to make each month. Basically, if you're using Keeper, you do the bank rec in the accounting platform, and then you handle the entire rest of the month-end close from Keeper. You're changing stuff, it's pushing adjustments to the ledger. You're reviewing it from Keeper, asking clients questions from there. And the result is a dashboard view that I think is one of the most powerful things in all of accounting tech. The status of all your month-end closes, live updating as clients respond to open questions, provide W-9s, whatever it is, all in a single view. Super powerful. Been a big fan of Keeper from the beginning. And speaking of apps that took a different approach, up next, it is Carbon, really the first practice management system to handle email triage. You know, email, that thing that you spend 80% of your day on. Is that an exaggeration? It's not much of one though. There's nobody over there. I'm alone. Now, a lot of PMs now do some version of inbox management, but Carbon really from day one integrated email deep into work because email is just a big part of how we work. Now, since then, they've doubled down on workflow automation, reporting. Their practice intelligence stuff is pretty cool. Thinking about like capacity planning, acquiring another practice. Oh, speaking of that, they recently launched a practice marketplace, which I think is just so smart. Users can buy and sell Carbon firms like Pokemon cards with no brokerage fees. That was a good joke, but let me make sure you understood. Carbon users can list their firm, can buy other firms, can not have to fuss with the brokers. Tech stack, arguably one of the biggest delineators of whether or not factors in what's going to be a good acquisition target for you. Super smart. And their AI features, they took home the Silver JC Award last year. Actually, the only tool on this list that won a bronze, silver, or gold JC last year. That's a big deal. Okay, 3 more to go, and this one you may not have heard of. Uku just came to the land of the free this year, and besides being among the more well-rounded options out there, have put a lot of thought into things like time and billing that sometimes feel like an afterthought to some of these platforms. But the main reason for me why they're on this list, look at this. This view, a visual way to plan your work. These tasks, they're not on those dates because it's their due date. These are planned work dates. I love that. Colleague, got a runny tummy, has to take the day off. You look at their calendar and you can see exactly what they were gonna work on that day. Very smart. They've also designed the platform in a very modular way, so you can turn on the bits that you need and turn off the stuff that you don't need that could clutter it up, right? Okay, this next one, it is a workflow automation nerd's dream, is Taxstone. One could argue the best platform today to run super automated service lines from end to end. There are inherently trade-offs with that, but Taxstone will let you trigger like all sorts of things each step along the way in your workflows. Sending out like the email that goes out with that step, the request with this step, the document signature for that step. And a super cool thing that they launched at the start of this year, a workflow template marketplace, where you can go out and swipe other people's templates, and accounting pros can actually get paid sharing their templates. I love that. I have long been a proponent of us not all like recreating the wheel independently in every single one of our firms. Totally unnecessary. This is a feature that I would love to see in more platforms. Taxstone comes with some tax software integrations as well, and you might have noticed, elephant in the room, where's all the practice management systems from my tax software vendor? They're where they belong, not in this video. You know why? Man, because they're just really, really bad. I wish they weren't. They just stink. But they'll try to hook you with that, that 3-year deal. They bundle it with the tax software. Oh, but I know that makes a lot of sense. They'll tell you, it's the only one that integrates with your tax software, which is a cool party trick, but doesn't make your platform any less. If you are considering buying a PM from your tax software provider, should we name names? Why not? Practice CS, Ombio, CCH Access Practice, iFirm, XEM. Just don't. I could introduce you to hundreds of firm owners, myself included, who got tricked into buying one of these platforms because they didn't know about the other tools we're talking about today, and because 5 years ago they weren't near as good as they are now. But honestly, go ahead, I challenge you. Make a case for any of them down in the comments, and it will be like piranhas descending on a turkey sandwich. The volume of unsolicited, but important, advice you will get from accountants who made the same mistake. Okay, last but not least, Canopy. Canopy is just a very good all-in-oneer, a super polished product in every way. They've done a good job. Whether it's time and billing, advanced reporting, custom automations, a client portal that doesn't look like it's from the Soviet era. And you know how we talked about vibes earlier? Like, does this software look like a place I want to spend my evenings and weekends away from the family? Canopy, I might be top of the heap for me on vibes. It's just a well laid out platform. Now, they started off serving tax firms, but these days you can run a good-sized tax and bookkeeping practice on it. But what do you do? Do you do tax? Do you do bookkeeping full service? How do we reduce this list of 9 down to just one for you? Check this out. I'll link it below. All you gotta do, provide a few details about your firm, and in less than 90 seconds, I'll give you my top recommendation for you, 2 secondary recommendations, and some resources where you can learn more about each without having to go down that sales process. And again, I'm not getting a thing for this. I just know how brutally painful it is to make the wrong decision. It cost me 3 years of productivity in my firm when I bought the wrong platform based on what salespeople were telling me. Don't buy that way. What I'm trying to do here is reflect all the social proof I've seen in the work I've done with firms around what actually works and what doesn't. There's a lot of tools we didn't talk about today, and there's a reason. But rather than crapping on them one by one, I'd rather point you to the ones that are working best today for US firms. Now, if you're not US, there may be some value for you here. The reality is there's a bunch of PMs that don't market in the US right now, so this is admittedly US focused. Okay, go check out that link. At the very least, you'll learn what not to use, reduce the options a bit. Don't go into 2025 on the wrong platform. It is the single most important tech decision you will make. You got this. 2025, man, is gonna be a great year, so much better than last.